Hello, welcome back to the channel. Me and the missus just went to see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning at the cinema, and it was awesome. Let's talk about that in a sec. But we saw a lot of behind the scenes videos on YouTube because of that, so I figured today let's do a little bit of BTS, lift the curtain and show you a little something about how I make these videos. I've gone out and I've invested in something to help me with my channel. Here it is. Hey, look at that. We've got another one of these and one of these, and it's the same as this. Oh, so we can put you on there and him on here. Look at that. And then check this out. Let's be right along. Without having to stop by the side of the road like a prat. Anytime I like, I can go camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. Oh, how fun. That is some of the best parking I have seen all day. Congratulations, sir. You win the prize. Now, I did stuff like this before, but whenever I wanted a shot looking back the other way, we had to pull over to the side, transfer the camera over there, grab a little shot, bring it back again. One thing that is definitely in your favour for motorbike videos is that you can't see my lips moving when the visor's down, or if I tilt my head like this, so you didn't actually know half the time that I wasn't really talking to you. But now it's easy. I can just switch back and forth whatever I want. How cool is that? And the next little trick I've learned is this. I'm shooting these clips today in 2.7K, which means we've got more than enough resolution for full HD. And we can even zoom a little. We can even zoom in a little bit, like this, without losing too much quality. That's handy. But I'm also shooting in an aspect ratio called 4:3, which means my footage is actually coming out of the camera looking like this. Yeah, almost square, like an old school TV. Which means two things. You can crop it after the fact, higher or lower. So if I framed my shot a little bit too high, I can move it. If I framed my shot a little bit too low, I can move it. But it also means we've got enough vertical resolution to use the same clips for vertical video. So I can cut together a little short like this. This isn't going to make much sense if you haven't watched the full video. Click on the link. What do you think about YouTube Shorts? I don't really know what they're for. People don't tend to subscribe when they look at them. They're just, I don't know, they're just quick. Okay, well, it's time for a little bit of shoot the when it comes to movies and the Mission Impossible film. Have you seen the new one yet? Of course you have. If you are a lover of motorbikes and things that go fast, like me, well, then you probably have. Now, we watched them all back from Mission Impossible 1 on DVD, right the way through to Dead Reckoning before we went to the cinema, just to sort of catch up. But I noticed something happening in the last couple of movies, which I thought was a bit weird, which was that, you remember that there's no way I can show Paramount's footage without permission, without getting killed. So I'm gonna have to do some kind of impromptu, you know, this stunt here. Get on the train. Gotta get on the train. Gotta get on the train. Okay. Whee. Yep, that one. I remember at the time the movie came out, there being a lot of talk about that specific stunt. And I have no doubt that it is very expensive to film that stunt. Of course it is. Quite apart from wrecking 6 bikes, they did it 6 times and dropped 6 bikes into the canyon. Because there's got to be rehearsals and rigging and teams and helicopters and drones and masses of stuff. Now, Tom Cruise is obviously already very proficient at skydiving and at motorbiking, but I couldn't help feeling after seeing it, it is just riding a motorbike off a ramp and then doing a skydive. And as long as your feet don't get stuck on the pegs or something, I don't know. I just felt like going on about the stunt too much before we'd even seen the movie meant that the actual moment wasn't as cinematically glorious as they had hoped it would be. Again, I am not saying it is easy. I'm not saying I'm going to recreate that stunt or that it wasn't expensive. Of course it was. I think it would have been nice to see the movie and just enjoy it as a moment within the movie and go, wow, before then having the thought for yourself of, oh, how the hell did they do that? Rather than having Graham Norton or whoever it was asking us to be amazed at this single set piece stunt before we'd even heard any of the story. And the exact same thing happened with this movie, with Final Reckoning. They were going on and on and on about this stuff on the biplanes, and I know it's very expensive, very, very difficult, very strenuous. I believe Tom Cruise when he said that it was extremely hard work. But to have seen the clips in isolation so many times before we got to see the movie, I just think it would be cooler to appreciate it as a crescendo, a high point in the movie, before then wondering how they did it and finding out more about it. I'm well aware from a few different movies actually of this concept of asymmetry. To create an impressive moment, cinematographers will often spend a vast proportion of their budget on a very small bit of the movie. For example, was it The Dark Knight, the Batman movie with the Joker in? That scene where they demolished the hospital. It was an old building that was due to be demolished anyway, so they set it up to film it with the Joker walking away from it, which means of course they only had one opportunity to do it. That shot, which was on screen for 3 seconds, was about half the budget of the entire rest of the movie. Imagine that, you've got those millions of dollars to play with and you spend half of them on a 3-second shot. But that's what you do. You create this incredible crescendo moment. You don't just want the impressive stuff evened out throughout the movie, because it won't be that impressive. So amongst his many talents, he'll hate me for calling him this, but my dad has, amongst other things, been a little bit of a lighting designer in stage shows. And he'll say I'm exaggerating, but that's what you did. He told me about this concept, which is that we never put the lights on stage any higher than like 70-80% until the final scene. If it's a pantomime, say, or a kids show, it usually ends with someone getting married, doesn't it? Some fairy tale wedding or some staircase and everyone walks down the stairs. No scene in the whole show has ever been lit to more than 80% brightness until that final scene, those last few moments, and then whoosh, we put it up to 100% full power, and the audience suddenly goes, whoa, it's more dazzling and bright and impressive than anything we've seen yet. And that's the shot or the scene that they leave the theatre remembering. But also shows that have no business whatsoever playing loud, beaty dance music do so in the finale. Like maybe we'll do the encore where everyone walks out and bows to a dance track or something. No business whatsoever being in the production. But because the audience leaves the theatre upbeat, they then say to everyone, oh wow, it was really exciting, because they just remember the end bit. So there it is, the principle of asymmetry. Spend your time or energy or attention or budget in a very asymmetrical way and put a large amount of it into a very small portion to make that bit extra impressive. I can't help singing the music. Now I'm riding the motor. There weren't any motorbikes in this movie, were there? Don't think so. Oh, what a beautiful evening. Well, afternoon, I suppose. Ah, here we are. Under the bridge. Let's go up there. Okay, and another nice thing about having two cameras. Oh, could we really? Oh, wow. Let's try it. So, with this one now, we're using a setting called Horizon Steady. Is that? Oh no, that's so good. Check this out. Okay, so we're just coming into Berkswell now. Hiya. I'm sorry, but is this the most awesome camera in the world? Or what? Right, we're off this way. And then when we get to the end, we want to stop, obviously. And we'll stop there. Just here. With my front wheel on that little pebble there. So, out comes the Joby pod thing. Which way do I want to be? That way. I'll go there. There we go. That's it. So you're going on there. Facing up a little bit. Let's just try and... Well, it's nice to arrive here at Berkswell Station with no pre-planning whatsoever, and just come on in like this. Lovely. Oh, hello. I'm just messing about. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.